What's the purpose of bowing, praying to Buddha statue other than bowing to his Dharma? Can you bow and pray to other enlightened beings? You know, that's one of the problems in Australia. People don't like bowing to anything. And they think that's too submissive. That's taking a culture which people can understand in Asia. Why do we have to do that in Australia? Why do we have big Buddha statues here? What do they mean? You know, what? So the way I explained that was the story. Okay, last story. I think I just kept my end up. I don't think I made much progress, but we didn't fall behind. This is the last story here. This over here in Perth was one of the Anglican schools. It's Christ Church Grammar School. It's this beautiful site overlooking the Swan River. I really don't know why they haven't sold it, because they get a fortune for that place. It's delightful views, but it's one of the private schools, very high fees. But anyway, they have a chaplain there. That was Father Frank Sheehan. And because I was helping out with the Cancer Support Association, he went there to help out too. We became associated. And so he said, why don't you come to our school to give a talk? At least you talk some sense. Not like some of the other people who give these talks there. So I said, okay, I'll go there. And so I had to arrive very early in the morning, before the school started. And when I got there, I was waiting outside with Frank, the chaplain, and with the principal. And the principal was a very strict, well-known Christian, Anglican. Because to be the principal of that school, you couldn't just be any old teacher. It was one of the Anglicans' main schools in Perth, the Anglican community. So I was waiting outside while the kids were getting settled in the assembly hall. The principal said, this is an Anglican, it's a Christian school. It's not a Buddhist school. So we have a little statue of Jesus inside, and it's our custom that when we go inside, we will do a little bow to Jesus. You're a Buddhist, you don't have to do that. I think you know what's coming next. I've said this many times. That got my rebellious spirits up. And I looked at the principal and said, I demand my right to bow to your statue of Jesus. I had a point to make. And the principal was really quite shocked. The chaplain, Frank Sheehan, he knew me so well. He said, no. He's not a crazy monk. And so I explained to him, I said, I would like to do this. There's something in that statue there which reminds me of something beautiful. That's what I'm going to bow to. And that became the talk when I talked to the kids inside the school. I say we have these big Buddha statues, all over the place. When I bow to them, I don't bow to a lump of metal. I bow to what it means to me. And my first bow is usually to virtue. I love virtue. It's meant so much to me. You can trust people. They become friends. And you can make a much better world where we don't have to worry about locking the doors, at night time. We know no one's going to do any harm to us. We can, leave something here at night, and which is very valuable, and we don't have to worry that somebody's going to steal it. Because we trust each other. That virtue is beautiful. So my first bow is to virtue, because I worship virtue. I put my head low. It's like putting something on top of my head. And this is how much I worship virtue. And my second bow is to peace. Because peace is in meditation, once you understand what peace is, it's gorgeous. It's really inspiring when you have peace right in front of you. And because you're mindful, it doesn't move, it's just there. You just let your mind sink into that peace. It's so healthy, so, holy, so wonderful. And it's not just peace by itself, it becomes peace in your monastery, peace in your retreat center, peace in your family, peace in your community, peace in your body. Everyone starts to work in harmony together. It'd be great if you can get that peace in the whole world. It just, don't know what the benefits are, but it's a beautiful thing to see, like a flower in bloom. So my second vow is to peace. I raise it above myself. I'm not important, but peace is. And my third vow is it used to be to wisdom, compassion, but now I just do it to compassion. Kindness. Because when you see real acts of kindness, somebody just goes out of their way and way beyond what they should ever do to help somebody else. That kindness, that compassion is just a beautiful glow in this world. And every time you see something like that, wow, it inspires you, it makes the world a beautiful place to be in. So that compassion is my third vow. Because I worship compassion. What it does to me is every time I vow, I remember those three things. They're important, I can never forget them. I bow to them. It's fun to worship something which is really worth worshipping. Virtue, peace and compassion. And all the kids, especially the headmaster, understood that. And he understood why the Buddhists bow now. He was so impressed that he arranged very quickly a visit by the school to Bodhinyana Monastery. And he came as well. And he actually arrived earlier than the bus carrying the school kids. You know those school kids, they wanted to visit my cave where I live. So only a few could come in at a time. And when they came in and I closed the door and turned the lights down, their comment was, about 15 or 16 or 17-year-olds, they say, "This will be a great place for a rave." Kids. So, but anyway, when the principal arrived early in the rest, I took him into our main hall in Bodhinyana Monastery, the big Buddha statue there. And the two of us, next to each other, we bowed 3 times to virtue, peace and compassion. And I was just kind of gobsmacked. The very fact that this very senior Anglican could bow 3 times to the Buddha. But he wasn't really bowing to the Buddha, he was bowing to what the Buddha meant. Like I could bow to a statue of Jesus. I can always see something in there which I really could worship. That's why we bow to a Buddha statue. That's why we do chanting. Because things like virtue, peace and compassion are really beautiful. That's what it symbolizes.